Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Reality Rangers. I'm your host, Malik.
And I'm Andrew Hill, and this is our first episode outside of Spirit Live for what is it, the ninth episode of Survivor 50.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're already on episode 9. We're like, what, three-quarters of the way done?
Yeah, 4 episodes to
Almost.
go. That's crazy. 1 month left of Survivor. So,
At this point in the season, I would say that we're on a good trajectory.
mhm,
I would say it's in the top half of the seasons, of the 50 seasons. I don't know about you.
of the 50s. I think it's at
No, no,
least
not of
you
the
know
50s eras, but of the 50 past seasons,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I definitely agree. I've seen a lot of like concern and like hate for this season, but it feels more unjustified compared to more recent seasons. Like the more recent hated seasons like 48, that was a slog to get through, but this time it's like I think you just are upset cuz your favorite got voted out early.
Yeah, I have, and that's affected me personally. I've lost Genevieve, I've lost Q,
Yes.
I've lost a lot of people, and I'm still like, okay, yes, some of these twists are a little questionable,
But
but,
but the
comma,
outcome is like
I'm
it's
enjoying it.
eating. The
It is
cast,
eating.
like I truly thought the cast was going to be like the most concerning part for the season, and the cast is like blowing everything else out of the water. Like this delivers on all fronts.
They could have been playing like an old school season, no idols, no twists, no nothing, and it still would have been entertaining. Like they would have found a way to make it entertaining.
Absolutely. And I think the especially cool part about this episode is we got to go to the Rob Has a Podcast RHAP Toronto event live. It was very cool to see so many people, so many of our faves.
Yeah, I can't believe I was in the same room as the Marianne O'Ketch. Like maybe I
I
was at one
know.
point and just didn't know, but like this is the first time I knew and saw Marianne up close and personal.
Right. And
Well, not that close,
right.
but
But like closer than you've ever been. I mean, we
exactly.
there was a bunch of people there. There was Rob, Marianne, Gabby, there was Sophie Bellerti, uh
Omer,
Omer, Caleb. There a lot,
Christina,
yeah, Kevin Jacobs, which was
Kevin Jacobs
that was cool.
from
I
BB
was not
Can
BB Can bring it back. I
and Traders Canada 3.
yeah. I mean for like 2 episodes, but still.
Yeah, he had a really influential 3 episodes. He
Exactly.
tanked Coco's game in just 3 episodes.
He really is the BB Can equivalent of Dan Giesling.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
But, you
Would that
know,
make Coco Phaedra?
oh, that's a crazy comparison, but like I don't hate it.
Kinda like they both had great social games and they made it far, but then like the person who turned on them screwed them over.
Mhm.
Yeah, I see it.
I think the biggest difference between the two of them is just that Coco was targeted from the beginning, whereas Phaedra started getting suspicion right at the end.
Yeah, spoiler alert for episode 9 of Survivor 50 titled I Deserve All of This.
Yes. What a I we were like trying to predict some of the stuff on the what was it chat BCC. We were trying to predict the player title, like who said the title of the episode, and who could have expected. I don't even remember who said, was it Jeff that said it.
Yeah, it was Jeff. Like I was thinking, because I was looking at all the options, and Jeff's name wasn't there, but there was like none of the above, and I was like, "What if Jeff says it?" Because sometimes he does say the title, and
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna click it. I was like, "Okay, maybe let me, make a thin margin bet," but I just went with somebody like Devins because like I'd assume this would be a big episode for him, and it was in a way, but he kind of got put to the wayside in the back half.
Yeah, I think I would have. I mean, based on all my predictions, I would have expected Rick to have such a flame out episode, but like he kind of gave that like he was like, no, 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 I'll leave the spotlight for someone else to flame out this episode.
And it was none other. Close your ears if you don't want to hear the spoiler. I don't know why you continue watching, but Christian Hubicki, his close ally, got voted
Yeah,
out this episode. So
rest in
sad.
peace. The crowd
in
at the
peace.
live event was in shambles. Malik was not.
I was not because a plethora of reasons. One, he was a really good player, and I was scared he was gonna, go further than some of my favorites. And
hmm
two, which I didn't even realize until today, he was on your draft, and he was your number one draft
He
pick.
was, and so I have now lost my number one draft pick and another. We're now tied.
We
Once
are.
again, this is if we just keep going back and forth with who loses a draft pick. Like this is unprecedented.
It's very neck and neck. Like we somehow chose the best sequence of players, and I mean, I still have my winner pick, but I think like we still have an even chance of producing a winner.
Absolutely. Like I've got Suri and Rizzo, but then you have a lot of
I have
like
Ozzy and Aubrey, which question mark on her edit. People like still don't think she's getting a good edit. I'm kind of in that camp, but
yeah, and I think like outside of them, we're still getting content from everyone. Like Jonathan, I don't think he'll win, but like I think the season has just been edited in a very uh like positive way for the most part, barring some, you know, women
yeah,
erasure. Uh but overall, like the edit's been pretty good, and so I feel good about a lot of these characters as much as I don't think they have like the ability to win. I wouldn't bar it out entirely.
yeah. I think there's only like a couple people who are strictly not going to win. Unfortunately, my winner pick I don't think has any shot of winning at this point. Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know about Joe and Emily. Also, I don't see winning. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Maybe Rick. Maybe not. But everyone else, I think, has a chance.
And it's also hard to tell because there's not many episodes left, but there's a bunch of people left. So it's like if your edit hasn't picked up yet, it I don't know if you can win the season, but at the same time, there is a bunch of people left. So how can your edit not get overshadowed to some extent? But also Christian's gone now, and he got what 68 confessionals as a
He
11th
was in like
placer.
top five most confessionals for a single episode this episode.
Yeah, it's
He got
insane.
18.
And to be fair, I don't know if production could have done too much about that because this was entirely a Christian episode. Like every single plot
Oh,
point had to do with him.
I mean, it's the same thing we were saying about his pre-merge. Like, there was no editing around the fact that he was going to every tribal. He was
Mm-hmm.
finding. He found the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol. He was in all these alliances. Like, it's like a bus club, another club, drinks. Like he was just doing everything on Survivor. So you have to show him doing everything on Survivor.
Yeah, this was. Uh, I guess he kind of was able to use this episode to finish off his bucket list of Survivor. I guess what's the word? Uh,
Like accomplishments.
I
Some of
guess
them were
so.
like
Yeah.
I wouldn't call accomplishments, but
Well, I mean, he was able to knock off his bucket list of shitting himself. Which
yeah.
everyone was
I
a big
mean,
fan of that part of
but
the
well, I
earlier
mean, how do we know
episode.
he didn't do that on DVG? How do we know he didn't do that on Dave
That's
versus
true.
Goliath?
That's true. You do make a good point. Let's get into it because we've got a lot of information to get through this, this late night um on this on this tonight's show. Like we
This
really need
tonight
to
show with Jim or not Jimmy Malik and
with
Andrew Fallon or Hill,
with
um,
Jimmy, Mr. Beast,
Jimmy Beast, Mr. Beast,
he
and
has a
his little beast.
briefcase.
Yeah. Um,
His little
no, okay. So, what's the first thing we see in this episode? Like, fade from black. What's the first thing we see?
Yes. So I believe first thing that we get is the aftermath of the previous tribal council. Um, you know, we get a lot of Rick trying to cover his tracks. There's some of, I guess, Jonathan is talking, but it's mainly just Rick is trying to recover from him not playing that fake idol and trying to convince people that it is still good for future tribals.
And does he eventually tell anyone that it's fake?
He does. And you know, time and time again, I guess everyone falls for the trap. The one person that he tells, aside from Christian, who already knew, is Emily Flippin.
Which, like, it's we had this little joke at when we were watching. Was like, would you rather tell Sari your deepest darkest secrets or Emily? And it's like they're both not good ideas because Sari has all the information. I mean, Emily does as well, but it's like they're going to use it in two different ways. Emily's going
Mm-hmm.
to use it as like hot gossip, and Sari's going to use it to like build up a campaign against you.
Yeah, Sari uses it as like future fodder against you, whereas Emily is just inciting chaos, whether intentional or not. Um, I think this is probably I guess the best situation for you to tell Emily something because he is a close ally of hers, but at the
This
same
is
time,
true. This is true.
it's still Emily that you're telling.
Yeah, I personally, having seen what has happened, like you'd think Christian would have told Devons, hey, she's been, a bit of a loose lips these past few episodes, especially after that swap when they got swapped with Angelina and Mike and everything, and then Q. I would have been like, hey, maybe we don't tell her what's up. Maybe we don't keep her in the loop. I know she's our ally, but maybe it's like a need to know basis.
Mm-hmm. So with Rick's fake idol, though, obviously he has to convince people that it's real. The main thing that he's telling people is that this was an advantage that he had to sneak out of tribal, so he couldn't use it at the tribal that he grabs it. What do you think about that?
I mean, he could have just said, hey, I didn't think I was going home because from all the exit press and also just like, people talking about the episode, like people were saying, hey, it was set in stone by the time we got to tribal or like it was like 70-30. So I think he could have gotten away with, I'm Rick Devens. I'm ballsy. I'm risky. I was just going to hold it. I don't know if he had to come up with this elaborate lie that I think some people are definitely not buying.
Yeah. Uh, this was like I think initially it was good as a cover at like, in the heat of the moment at tribal, but as you get back, it's like it can kind of be deconstructed a lot more. And somehow people like don't really question it. Um I would have expected more pushback or, whatever, but it seems like people are treating this as a real idol, especially like now that people are more like way more focused on this idol rather than the real idols that Rizzo and Ozzy have.
Yeah, they didn't watch 49, but like they've been hearing murmurs of, oh, this guy sat on an idol for like however many tribal councils. I don't know how you're gonna let him like fool me once, shame on you, or shame on you, fool
Yeah.
me twice, shame on us. Yeah, fool me once, shame on Rizzo, fool me twice, shame on the cast of Survivor 50. It's just like, how can you let him get away with this? I mean, he is a charming young man, but like, come on.
Yeah, this was you gotta like you can't give Rizzo an inch. You can't give a mouse a cookie. He
He is
he's
kind of mousy.
he is kind of mousy. He's a little ratty. But I'm glad that he's in this position because I love Rizzo and I think the more the season goes on, the more I want to see people like underestimate him so that he can have his big moment, even if it results in like him getting voted out. We'll have to see, but they're not showing. They really haven't shown the idol at all since he first got it, or like since the merge, I guess.
It
Which I
almost makes me think like they would be showing him talk about it more if it was going to be used to make a big play down the line.
That's what I'm thinking. Like I feel like they're either hiding it because they want it to be like a callback moment for a big moment, or it's not going to amount to much and he might just like again not play it.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets to the point where he doesn't have to play it, kudos to him for like that would be a record for most tribal councils sitting on an idol. It has to
Mm-hmm.
be, right?
Surely. I mean, if
Combined with 49, yeah.
did he end up playing it in 49? I can't remember.
Probably I think at the final five, like
I
when he
think
had
so.
to, it would have been, I mean, I don't think anyone would have voted for him, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think he played it just to be safe, like a kind of Sandra, like, hey, I'm gonna let you finish, but I got something. Yeah.
Yeah, so there were a few other moments that we saw around this time of the episode. We got like a bunch of little moments between different characters, like Aubrey and Jonathan connecting. A little weird. Um,
Yeah, like Aubrey loves the whole opposites attract. Like I think
yeah,
maybe it's because she's originally from a brains versus brawn versus beauty season, and that's kind of like a big selling point. Is when they get to the merge and these unlikely duos form, where it's like she was allied with Sydney, and they're like, oh, it's two different people. But with Jonathan, it's like okay, it's kind of played out. I mean, Jonathan is a good player right now. I have to,
mm-hmm.
like I always say, I have to give him credit where credit is due. Unfortunately, but I just don't see them meshing strategically.
No, I think this is more of like a good idea on paper, but doesn't help Aubrey in the long run. It really just helps Jonathan get back into like a strategic position after last tribal. Um, but like I can't fully, I mean, I understand to an extent, but not like entirely understand why Aubrey was so immediate to just jump the gun. Like obviously Rick put a big target on himself, but it seemed like even before that happened, she was like getting ready to just like abandon everything she had built up at that moment.
Hmm.
We
And
got
and I would have thought she would be more loyal to like the Cerise of it all. Like I
mm-hmm,
thought they would be riding close because of game changers.
for sure. Um, I think maybe they just have like a bigger target for their connection, just because it's like so well known and they were paired last episode. But I mean, I don't know if it really did too much. Um, in terms of other like moments that we saw, we got a moment with it was I think Joe and Suri, and then it
And
kind of led in
Ozzy and Tiffany.
yeah. That which kind of led into Cerie's confessional, which I thought was very funny about how she's basically like everyone's number one ally.
I'm
I
kind of scared. I'm kind
I
of scared for her because I feel like that's something that's like leading up to it all toppling and
right.
like falling back on her.
And this is something that we see later of like people are starting to catch on of the actual middle, but she is doing a good job of negating people, like getting rid of people who are going to threaten that, because after we see Suri talk about how she's a lot like she's everyone's number one and she has lots of like connections, Christian starts talking about how he's realized people are calling him the middle, but the real middle is Ozzy. And what does he do?
He goes to Sari and pitches this crazy idea. Hey, Sari, we need to get out Ozzy.
Ooh,
Oh no. Oh no. And it was like what, 20 minutes into the episode? We could predict
not
what was gonna
even.
happen to him an hour and 10 minutes later.
Yeah, that was a big, like I think that was probably Christian's biggest downfall, like biggest error in this episode. And I've seen people talk about the twist that we'll get to later, that it screwed him over, like, all this, all that. And I think he had a good chance of being targeted this episode. But
Yeah, anyone who
that,
says that to me is kind of coping a little bit because
yeah,
what we're talking about right now was it's what kind of sealed his fate.
even before that, I think there was like it wasn't a big chance, but there was a chance he could have been voted. It probably would have been more likely Rick, but this specifically definitely put a target on him, from people who wouldn't have been like looking towards him at that current moment, like Sari, Rizzo, Tiffany probably.
Yeah, Cerise's very protective of her allies, and Christian didn't have the right read. He went to Cerise pitching a
Mm-hmm.
name that she was close with and that she was not ready to impart with, at least now. Maybe in the future she'd be willing to cut Ozzy, but not this early.
I don't even know if she would, because I feel like Ozzy is probably the number one person on here who would not cut her to
At
get
like
to
the
final
final
tribal.
four.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
if she
that's
can
what I've
keep
been
Ozzy to
hearing.
the end, she beats Ozzy very easily. Um, and I think she also has Ozzy as a vote, whether or not it's going to be fire or uh, a final four vote, which I hope it's a vote. But if it's a vote, then I think
Yeah,
she can uh, what's the word?
convince.
Like secure her spot for the final tribal.
Yeah, I think if it's final four fire making, I don't know. I'm scared it might be like out of her allies. Who's most likely to win immunity? Probably Ozzy.
Mm-hmm.
Who's most likely to take her? Also Ozzy, because I don't. If we're talking about Rizzo, he's not winning a challenge,
No.
and maybe he would try to make that big spectacle and take out Suri. I don't think he would be welcome on Twitter anymore, but and Tiffany, as for Tiffany, she could maybe win the final immunity, and I think she would definitely take Suri.
Yeah. And I think another one that I could see being really good for her is Joe, honestly. Like, and if I'm being fully honest, I'm coming around to Joe. I think he's been some credit there. Like, he's probably, I think, this like least impactful player still in the game right now. Which has made him feel like kind of like a mascot of himself. Uh which
It's it's
I kind
I
of love this
sorry.
season.
Yeah, no, he's doing way better on this season. Not necessarily strategically, because yeah, he's not in the power position at all this season that he was on 48.
Mm-hmm.
But his character to me is much more interesting. Once you free him from the shackles of Chrissy, Coach, Colby, and all of them,
Mm-hmm.
he really is a fun, scrappy player on the bottom, and he's a power bottom, as Marianne would put it.
Exactly. Shout out Marianne O'Ketch. Um,
Um,
I this episode and like the previous few episodes, I mean, we've been seeing a lot more like character from him. We saw the fight between him and Devons in episode 2. This episode we kind of saw like a almost fight between the two of them again where they had like a mini feud but it got resolved. But he was kind of being like a little diva in the confessionals about that conversation. And then there was
And
like
also, he was very delusional about his ability to remain subtle and not
yeah,
show his emotions on his face.
it it's been like really entertaining to watch him because he just kind of doesn't seem like he's affecting the game at all, which and that's kind of like on the first like pre-swap tribes when they were talking about how they had to like babysit Joe, keep him happy or whatever. Like that's such a funny archetype to have on a season. Like who
Especially
else?
with somebody who's like such a physical play. Like, he's very
Right.
menacing. If this was the challenge or whatever Amazing Race, oh, he'd be a big threat. But we're on Survivor, right? So him winning challenges is like not necessarily the end all be all, as
Mhm.
as we'll see here. But like, he's really strong and physically imposing. But when it comes to strategy, you can kind of like drag him along like a little kid.
Of course, yeah. So what else happens throughout this like there's kind of a lot that happens before the challenge. Um is there I can't remember, like is there anything else that happens or do we just
My
go
mind is blanking. When we're at RHAP and we're not taking notes, it's kind of
Mhm.
hard to remember even the next day. So now we move on to the immunity challenge as pictured here. It is uh, I mean, for me, it's traumatic because I started watching in season 46, and one of my favorites, as we see here, was Tiffany, and she kind of touches on it a little bit. This was the challenge that she lost on her boot episode, which her boot episode, many people remember fondly because it was the Liz Applebee's I'm pissed moment. But for me,
Mhm.
I was legit pissed because first of all, Charlie won this, and I was a big Charlie anti back in the day. Not anymore. I've mellowed out, kinda. But I was really a big Tiff fan, and I thought she could take it home. I thought she could win Get a Grip. Or not Get a Grip. What is this called? Uh, what is this
Something.
challenge called?
You want to search it?
Wrist Assured.
Mm.
Wrist Assured. I thought she could win Wrist Assured, and then she lost. And when that, like, I don't know, like tile broke under the weight of the bucket, like my heart kind of broke. And
Yeah.
so she got a second chance here, no Cambodia, to have some redemption, no season 22. And it was just fun to see it. I really like this challenge. I don't know about you.
I think this is one of the best endurance challenges that we have on the show. There's some that I really wish would come back, but like I can understand based on like a like physicality or like a like injury risk. Um,
Yeah.
but like I think this is probably the best of the new era like updated endurance challenges that we have because it's like it's real you feel so tense watching it.
Yeah, I accidentally said this one before, but Get a Grip, I would say, is the most iconic one, and I really do hope
Mhm.
they bring it back in one of these next couple episodes, because like,
I would love
especially now
that
that you have
so
Ozzy
much.
here, he's still
Yeah.
there. Like, you gotta have Get a Grip.
And they should make the in between like sections bigger so we can have that scene where Parvati was like hanging off of the side again.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I think I saw somebody dress up as that for Halloween.
That's kind of iconic. Is it like one of
Yeah.
those costumes where it's like the inflatable alien carrying you and you're like inside, your legs are the
No,
alien.
I don't think people make that on mass,
Your
but
leg is
I
the pole and you have your fake
yeah, like
legs
is the
like
whole no, it was I think they just had like a cardboard cutout of like Parvati, a kind of smaller one just hanging off of them, and then they
got
I don't know,
it.
they made themselves look like a pole. But yeah, this challenge was unlike any other because there was a special participant. No, it was not a
Yes.
celebrity. It was the host, none other than himself, Jeff Probst.
W- Is he not a celebrity? I mean,
Is he a niche micro internet influencer? No, he is. I guess he is a celebrity, but to us,
but
he's just Jeff
he's just
Probst. Like,
Jeff. Um, but let's we have access to clips here.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
oh my
I'm running
gosh,
today's challenge. You want to earn your rice? You're going to do it by outlasting me.
Oh my god.
No.
oh my
Are you
gosh.
with me?
Wait,
So I want 5 players to take a side bet with me.
side bet.
And if all 5 of you outlast me, you get the rice. But if
Hey.
I outlast even one of you, I keep the rice.
Okay,
Oh my god.
pause the clip. Pause the
I just
clip.
have-
Yeah, let's pause. Let's pause.
What's the whole side bet thing? There's nothing for them to lose.
Yeah, I think the whole bit is that it's like they lose their like I guess you lost to Jeff Probst, so that's like an embarrassing factor. But like they said, he's relatively fit. I mean, he's eaten he isn't starved on an island. He is he has all these advantages. So they really have like I no consequences, which honestly I think is for the best. I'm glad.
What advantages does he have?
I think this feels like a something you'd see on the challenge. I haven't watched the challenge in fairness, but it feels like if I was going to guess what happens on there, it would probably be the host. If they want a reward, you have to beat the host, and it's like
Yeah, that's
that
fair. I was gonna
that
say
British
like what
game
kind of
show.
advantage he has. Like, does he have a knowledge as power,
Yeah.
safety without power?
If Jeff loses,
No.
he loses his vote.
Yeah, he does. He just doesn't get to talk at tribal council. He's like gagged like Kara from the Traders. He just doesn't
Yeah.
talk. No more analogies. No more impressions.
They get like someone. Who would be the funniest person that they could get to replace him to host tribal?
I mean, that kind of goes to show what happened in this challenge. I mean, we start the challenge. We've got our weak people going out really early. You know, your Rizzos and Emily's, and Sari lasts longer than them. And then Devins drops. Devins was doing a good job kind of replacing Jeff as the caller for the challenge because Rizzo was not.
Yes.
Rizzo. I stick to your day job of being a Survivor player, not a host.
Do you think that Jeff Probst was doing this as like these are auditions for when I die?
Die? No.
Well,
Retire? Maybe. Yeah.
I
lot
have
of
a feeling
people-
that he is going to refuse to give up his hosting position unless he's dead.
Oh, so he's like a Supreme Court justice. Like he's
Right, right,
going until
right.
he physically can't anymore.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg of Survivor.
Yes, he's notorious. Ruth Conda forever.
Ruth Conda
Yes.
forever. That's my tweet of the week.
That's my tweet of the week. Yes. No, I mean, a lot of people were saying like Rick Devens is kind of like the ideal next host. And I can see that given the whole like Survivor 40 scrapped idea of him, or 41 of him giving out fire tokens. Like he's he is an icon. He's one of the first co-hosts for the On Fire podcast, or maybe the first, I can't remember.
Yeah,
So
he
I
was the
think if
first.
anyone, like any former player, were to replace him, if it wasn't a winner, it would be Rick.
I think so. I think there's still like Boston Rob is probably what Jeff won. I feel like it's. I don't know. I in my mind, it's like if they were to replace him, it would be like Rob or Rick. You don't
We don't want that.
you
We
don't
don't
want
want
that.
Rob.
I
I
think
want Rob's sister Nino. Maybe if you're talking about Rob as an RHAP,
yeah,
maybe.
Rob
But he wasn't
C.
even brought back for 50, so
Yeah, I think they.
yeah.
Do you even like me?
Do you even like me? Yeah, that's kind of the vibe.
Yeah,
I don't know who else would be like. I wouldn't want like
I think
you could be a
Rick
good
is
player,
kind
even
of
a
the
good
ideal
screen
spot.
presence.
I think
Sorry.
Rick is kind of like the ideal person to take over because, like, I mean, he has, like, his whole background is news broadcasting. His whole background on Survivor is being a showman. Like, he is kind of built, like, it's like, this might be a dumb reference, but like in Invincible, like Alan the alien is genetically bred to be like the perfect counter to a Viltrumite. And so Rick
Okay.
Devens is like perfectly bred to be Jeff Probst's replacement. Like he was built in a lab to
He's like a Powerpuff Girl or like an ideal racehorse or something. Yeah.
Right, right,
He
right.
was he was anatomically crafted to host Survivor, and I could totally see it. I mean, yeah, he's a good age. He loves the show. I think he's a hit with fans, and he's played multiple times. I think he's got all the makings of a great host.
And he
He
seems to
he's
know
he's a
what the
radiant screen
fans
presence.
he seems to know what the fans want too, which is like a big plus cuz I doubt that Rick would be the kind of person to be like I also want to take that like executive producer role like Jeff wants, which I think people
Yeah.
all kind of agree Jeff as a producer sometimes gets in the way of being a host, whereas Rick would just want to stay as like an on-screen talent kind of thing.
Well, even if he did make those choices, I would have more faith in him than what I'm seeing from Jeff right now. No
Right.
shade to Jeff. I just I mean, even though he was playing with a bunch of idols and advantages on Edge of Extinction, and even though he came back on one of the most controversial twists in Survivor history, I think he would still be pretty tame. Like he respects Survivor holistically, so I don't think he would go crazy. I don't think he would like make up something as crazy as like, oh, let's have Jimmy Fallon make somebody
Mhm.
vote for themselves. Like I don't think he would do something like that. That was just a random idea that I made up in my head.
Right, right. Like that would never happen, but he
I
kind
don't think so. I really hope not.
Rick kind of gives me like JLP vibes. Like I
Yeah.
maybe
Less
I
hunky. I mean,
right,
some people, different strokes for different folks. Some people
right.
love Rick on Twitter.
I mean, yeah, it's been a like people are kind of thirsting over him. He's like the ideal like dad bod
I,
archetype. Like
no shame in it. I can get behind it. But
we have no
no
shame, no
JLP.
bias here.
No bias. No, we are pro dad bod. But JLP, I did like from the one season. I mean, I only saw him in AU versus the World because I
Mhm.
don't watch Australian Survivor as much. But
Before he was
no, yeah, they both
axed.
seem before he was act for the Golden God. But no, that's like if they replaced Devins with Jonathan.
Yeah.
But no, I liked him from what I saw. So if he's anything like Devins, then Devins would be a great host.
Yeah. But as we were saying, the challenge, they had to, it was he asked for 5 people to create a side bet with him, not a bet, but and uh, they were able to lower it down to 4 because I think, um, Jeff seemed I couldn't tell if he was overconfident or afraid, but the moment the challenge started, Jeff was like struggling.
And there was no way that they were gonna go away with just being like, no, we're not taking the deal. So I think Jeff would have
Yeah.
caved to whatever they wanted to do.
For sure. But we saw, I think it was Jonathan, Tiffany, Joe, and Stephanie? Ozzy, I think.
Ozzy, yeah.
Yeah. And all of them succeeded. They were able to beat Jeff. Who did Jeff outlast? It was Rizzo.
He outlasted Rizzo, Suri, Emily, and Devins.
Yeah.
And maybe Stephanie. No, not Stephanie, and not Aubrey, surprisingly.
Yeah. Aubrey just barely beat him out, but I think the funniest thing with this challenge for me was we were talking about it, and Emily was about to drop, and I was like, is Rizzo actually gonna outlast someone? And then immediately Rizzo drops. It was such comedic timing that I wish we could have recorded, but of course it was live.
Yeah, it was like he kind of really maxed out his strategy and social skill tree and just left no points for the comps, like, or the
Right.
challenges. Like, he really can't win anything.
I understand if we go back to like episode 1 when he was always sleeping around camp and Colby was getting mad at him. Like, you know what? You seem like you're dying of like dehydration and malnourishment. I go sleep, my little pillow princess.
Literally, no. He kind of is the passenger princess of any tribe he's on.
Exactly.
And didn't he say himself, like, for 49 he didn't make fire around camp or something?
Yeah, he kind of just like hangs out because I think his words exactly were like, I'm not here to make a camp, I'm here to win Survivor, which is like, it's kind of funny.
I kind of fear I would do that on, like, if I played the game. I kind of fear I would do that, which is why I meant not fare well. Like, I don't think I have as much charisma as Rizzo,
I'd just be floating in the the ocean for like hours. It just looks so nice.
Pulling
out
a
there.
Mary.
Yeah. It just looks incredible. But of course,
it does look gorgeous.
The challenge has to have a winner, and I don't think he won on his first time around. But he was able to get redemption.
No, he did.
He did win.
Survivor 48. Joe won. Rest assured, and he won it here.
Wow, I thought David beat him. So this is Joe.
No, I think this was one of the ones that he beat David.
This is Joe's second win on this challenge. He, I guess, the only person to like participate in this challenge twice, have a chance to get it twice, aside from Tiffany, who lost the first time. So I guess he's the undisputed GOAT of this one. And he has a decision to make before...
Oh, this is what I wanted to do with my segue.
Yes.
Speaking of 46, I saw somebody describe it as him going to the University of Maria and graduating cum laude, at making decisions for rewards and journeys, because he gets people to do a rock, paper, scissors tournament to decide who goes on the journey.
So nothing, because he could, like, this is not a position where if you choose someone, everyone else is going to be pissed at you. Like, especially because it's Joe, like, just pick someone, man.
Just pick, like, Tiffany. I think that would have been a good choice.
That would have been a great choice, because as we'll get to, even if Tiffany had the, like, bad, like, if she didn't succeed and got the downside, like, she's not going home. Like, I think this just secures a tight allyship with someone that you connected with last episode.
The tournament culminates in a final two of the two people who were gunning for each other this episode, Ozzy and Christian.
Yes. And Christian ends up winning, so he gets to go on his Jimmy Fallon journey.
But yeah, let's get down to explaining what it actually was. So It was like this twist that's never before seen. If Christian completes this little challenge that we'll talk about, he gets to put a vote in the urn before tribal even starts for somebody of his choosing. He doesn't even get to consult with anyone, though. He just has to decide it then and there. And they're just going to have one vote for them going into tribal. It's called One in the Urn. I've seen this before on Survivor Quebec. And that's an okay twist. It's not crazy beneficial because you don't get to strategize.
Yeah. I think the one upside with this is they mention it in the episode, but this like journey is like over and done with really fast. So unlike other journeys, you still will have a lot of time to talk to people after you get back. But in this case, the downside here is if you don't complete the puzzle in time, the one vote in the urn is automatically going to be your own vote against yourself. So you can't vote for anyone but you.
Which
Ugh.
I don't know how to feel about that. Because then you also lose your shot in the dark.
Yeah, it's like a lost vote, but even worse.
It's almost like a steal a vote, but you're stealing from yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I think this has been a big point of contention with the season so far, where people are very upset about this twist. And I think the biggest thing is like they're upset because of the outcome. I could see a world where if it was like Jonathan that went home, people would love this twist. It's kind of like the opposite of the Tied Destinies, where I didn't think it was a good twist at all, but it had a good outcome, so it resulted in a good episode. But 9 times out of 10, it's really bad. And I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I don't.
there's no benefit to this journey. Like the benefit like is so small in the ratio compared to the drawbacks.
Yeah, it's like I don't hate the twist, especially compared to other twists. I think it's not good, but it's definitely, especially because like it wasn't the reason why Christian went home by any means. But I don't think it was like we didn't need it, and I think it could have been reworked to be better for the game, more sportsmanlike rather than like having to give up everything if you lose, especially because the timer was so fast.
Yeah, I mean the timer, we saw this in Survivor 47. It was the journey that Rachel went on to get her, I don't know, her extra vote, steal a vote, block a vote. I don't remember I think it was block a vote.
I think it was a block of vote, yeah.
And it was, yeah, that like push the anchor off and then slowly your puzzle is about to be dragged into the ocean. And I always wondered like, oh, I wonder what that would look like if Rachel didn't finish it. It would be funny. And we saw that with Christian. It was kind of sad. Like he immediately crumbles onto the pontoon, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
And he just starts talking about how like, oh, like I want this to be a learning lesson for my newborn son. Like you can have like be faced with adversity, but it's your reaction to the adversity that's what matters. And it was very inspirational, but that didn't change the fact that he was in major trouble.
Yeah. I think the one thing though was it was a very funny visual of watching it fall into the ocean, and I do want to play that.
Oh, hilarious.
Everyone else was like gasping. They were like, really upset, but we were like kind of laughing really hard.
We weren't gasping, we were gagging.
Yeah. Let's watch that one.
Caprice! Another weight drops in the water. And I can see the last one getting closer.
Mind you, Genevieve
Like,
would have
oh my
finished
God,
this.
I'm a couple pieces
Right.
away.
Mind you, Camilla would have finished this. Mind you, Rome would not have finished this.
No, he would not have. I feel bad for Christian in this moment, but the visual is.
Oh, I would
really
hate
funny.
to be him here. Like that's
And then-
devastating.
It, like seeing it sink into the water it's kind of funny.
Oh, I was about to make a dark joke. Well, I'm gonna make it. I
Got
was
it,
gonna say
yeah.
like the visual was giving very much Titanic submersible like core. Like it was very much bye, like bye. It's not looking good for Christian at this point.
No. It's not a good situation by any means. I think this wasn't the reason he went, but it was probably the nail in the coffin, because we didn't mention it, but if you lose, on top of having to vote for yourself, you had to go back to camp and announce to everyone that you had to vote for yourself. So this wasn't like a way you could lie. The only upside here is just that, you know, you can't lie, so people can take it at face value and not worry that you have something and might want to save you because, you know, this is such a like prime opportunity to take advantage of the power.
I think this is the one instance where Cedric wouldn't vote you, is if you were legally obligated to tell him that you lost your vote.
Yeah.
Like, it's a mix of what happened to Justin and Bianca. Like, I didn't want to tell you, but I have to, so I am telling you. I think Cedric would really respect that, and he wouldn't vote for you for once.
And where was Cedric's call for 50?
And where was Cedric's call, honestly?
And
Because
let's wake up to that.
And let's wake that up, because where's Cedric? I needed Cedric back to vote every person out on 50, 23 different players. I think he could have done it.
As we get back to camp, you know, we were already seeing a lot of people kind of deciding, do we do Christian? Do we do Rick? There was kind of that, like, it seemed like it was definitely going to be more Christian than Rick, now that, you know, he was on the journey, and Rick is kind of like a sitting duck, so they might want to take the more powerful player. But I think this was like really, it just kept getting worse and worse.
If it were your call, would you have put the majority of the votes on Christian?
I, from what standpoint, like what alliance would I be in for that call to be made?
Maybe like the Wizard of Oz, because that's kind of how I filter. That's like my perspective through the game, because they're playing the best.
I think yes. If I was in the game, I would target Christian. As a viewer, actually, you know, let's get to that before I say it. Because it seems all but guaranteed that we're going to lose someone from the Nerds Alliance. Emily is not happy about this. Like, that's all the allies that she has, really. And she is, alongside Christian and Devon's, really pushing for Ozzy now, like more than either one of them, really. And it kind of starts to seem like maybe they're gonna do Emily. What do you think about that?
I really liked this idea from Suri and Tiffany, because it was kind of like really out of left field. Not many people would see it coming. But I also don't like it because, like, if she's the least threatening player out of the three, what use is there in voting her out? And you can let Christian say, yeah, I had a vote for me by default in the urn, and I still survived that tribal council. That's
Right.
kind of too crazy. You can't let him get away with that.
Yeah.
I would hear out people saying to put the majority on Devon's if you're somebody who doesn't know that the idol is fake. That's a good way to get rid of the idol. If he plays it, okay, Christian goes home. If he doesn't, he goes home with the idol. You know, like, I think had they thought it was real, I don't know if at that point they knew it was fake or not. But I would target the person with the advantage.
Yeah, that was my thoughts exactly, and I think the way that they're playing it up seems like they don't assume Rick's is a boomerang idol, so he could play it on any one of the three, and that would make Emily the safest bet to get out. But they were already going to split the votes, so it doesn't really make too much sense.
Yeah, they had the majority, like a super majority.
From a player perspective, like if I was in the game, Christian seems like the like most worthwhile target. But as a viewer, I think Emily would have been the most entertaining while still leaving the most room for chaos and, like, you know, like warring factions or whatever. But I mean, even with Christian gone now, we still have so many great players, great characters, so much entertainment that, like, this isn't affecting my perception of how the future of the game's gonna go.
Yeah, no, even with the preview we saw for next episode, I'm not losing steam when it comes to the Survivor 50 train. I think
No.
it unless it horribly sticks the landing, or I guess it doesn't stick the landing, I think this will be like a, at least a B+ season for me. I think the characters were compelling, the gameplay was dynamic, not like the advantages. No, the advantages being dynamic, I don't know how I feel about that, but in general, it was an enjoyable season, and I think like if we look at the preview, I don't really remember what happened. I just remember the Mr. Beast of it all.
Yeah, I remember there was a section where they're talking about how they need to start targeting Rizzo,
Mm.
which is interesting. I don't think it's going to amount to much, but it is interesting to see that people are starting to wake up to the actual middle, which I think
Which
will
is,
make
scary if you're a Suri fan or an
for
Aussie
sure.
fan. But
But even still, they're not targeting Suri yet. They're targeting her allies, which is pretty cool.
yeah, there's something to say about like I think I heard stuff coming out of this most recent season of Survivor Australia. It was the redemption season, and it
Mhm.
wasn't all returnees, but there was 4 returnees, and a big argument for the newbie players was, do we get out the players that the second chance returnee players are playing with, or do we go straight for them? Like, do we weaken them or do we go head on?
Yeah.
And I don't really see any value in weakening them when you could just take out them head on. Like, it's just this is a testament to Cerise Society because no one
Mhm.
is going for her directly.
I think the argument for weakening someone is because it's easier to flip people from the other side if you get someone who is an assured number to the person you're against, but is still like enemies with someone who might also be on that side. But in a lot of cases, you can still get the numbers to vote out the biggest threat. It really just depends on where the numbers are at and like your long-term plan. Like if you can spare like if you need to ensure that this person will go home in the long term, then you might want to get out their allies. But I don't know, in Cerie's case it's like it's hard to tell because she's just so good at this where I can't tell. They just don't want to target her in general. Like there's no target against her, which is such a testament to her game.
Yeah, if we take a look at the Mr. Beast of it all, it looks like it's going to be an auction.
Mhm.
It looks like there will be some shenanigans. There's a Beware briefcase, is what I think we should call it, because it's alliterative, and I love that. The
Yeah.
Beware briefcase, what do you think's in there?
Um, I keep seeing people talking about the Mr. Beast Games coin of whatever, and it's like if you flip it and it's heads or something, then we double the prize pot. And I really doubt that's what it is, but that's like the
But it's
only
like, yeah,
idea
like
that
why would you
anyone
have that
has.
spectacle if it's not going to land on heads? They would
And
either rig it to double it or they wouldn't have it at all.
yeah, and it's like it has to be something that relates to Mr. Beast in some way cuz I mean with the other celebrities this kind of it makes sense that they're not really connected just because like they're not in that world, they just like the show. But um with Mr. Beast, he hosts his own show. I mean, his YouTube channel is all about like competitions and whatever. So like you would assume he'd have some relation to the game, you know?
He's probably, even though he's like one of the celebrities that I dislike a little bit. Like I don't love his content, but he is for this aspect, for all intents and purposes. I think he's the best of the 4 celebrities we have seen. He's the most cohesive as somebody
Mhm.
making an advantage in Survivor, and I guess making an appearance because he does show up on the island. So, I'm looking forward to that out of all the stuff we've had with celebrity interactions. Like, for example, the Billie Eilish one, if she even had a single song in her discography, which maybe she does, that was called Boomerang, then that would make sense. Maybe if it was the JoJo Siwa Boomerang Idol, I
Except
would be a little less hesitant to get on board with it.
yeah. It's a very interesting like idea. I'm holding out like hope and faith that this twist won't be too impactful, and if it is, it's like I hope it's just like a net positive. There's not like, it's beware because everyone's going to lose their vote and 7 people go on a journey and, whatever. That doesn't seem like what's going to happen, especially because this is at an auction, not like a journey or a challenge or whatever. But yeah, I mean,
I've been hearing anonymous complaints that my drafts aren't aesthetically pleasing.
who's I mean, I
Who said that? Who said that? No, I totally get it. Next season, just bear with us. Next season is going to be way more beautiful because my input will not be taken for the graphic design, and I will not be handling that. So just hang tight with us because it's going to be better than this brat green drab garbage that I made in 2
Hey,
seconds on
if it
Canva.
works, it works. We're just gonna be so high quality next season that it's gonna feel like we're working for a production company.
Exactly. That we're manifesting that.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, I did not write letter grades ahead of time, but I can just go off based off of vibes.
Yeah.
Tiffany, I'm unfortunately gonna give my girl Tiffany a B plus because she didn't get crazy content. She went back to a one confessional episode, which, ugh, like she does have good confessionals. So let's see them. Like I say this every time, I sound like a broken record, but like give her confessionals. She could be talking about the sand between her toes, and I'd still listen. But like she didn't win the immunity challenge. I was really hoping she would, and she just wasn't a crazy big presence. But she didn't do anything wrong per se. Aubrey, I don't know where Aubrey's at. I'm giving her a 7. I'm giving her an ampersand. I'm giving her a hashtag. I'm not giving her a like a letter because I can't grade her on a physical plane. Like she's somewhere in a different dimension, not
Giving
on
her an
Survivor.
interrobang because I am shocked and confused.
Yeah, Stephanie. She's even. We did not talk about Stephanie this episode. I think
Did
we
she
only
have a
talked about her when
confessional
we
this
talked.
episode?
She had one at the start. They got hers done with early. She was the one
Right.
where like I'm gonna slit everyone's throats.
Oh well, of course, because
Proceeded to do no slow throat slitting. Like I don't know. I mean she's probably happy that Christian's gone because he's part of the middle. But there is not much Stephanie. Whenever I look at this photo of her now, I just think of her AI video that she made with her like running off the island. Like it's just seared into my head and it scares me.
she is a scary figure. I always just think of the in the Survivor 50 promo where they had everyone standing in like the shape of the 5-0, like doing their
And they did her dirty with the
They did her
angle.
so dirty. Like we're gonna have to put that clip in and post. Like
We'll find out.
she kind of looks like a mess.
She got caught off guard. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
put that on her because it was kind of close up, but yeah, it was not the best picture.
Yeah.
If we're talking about Ozzy though, I think this was a decent episode for Ozzy. He did get some heat, but he deflected it well. I mean, Suri deflected it well, but he was kind of like Suri had to tell him to fix his face a little bit. Like he was shocked when he heard his name coming from Christian, and he's like, "Oh no, no, Suri, I'll chill." And I think he did an okay job. He was close to winning immunity, and yeah, I'd give him an A. And then Rick, I don't know. Rick didn't go home this episode. A lot of people thought he would, so I'm gonna get. I mean, his closest ally did, so I'm gonna give him B minus C plus.
All right.
What about you? What are you feeling for
now-
my draft?
So Tiffany, I gave a B plus as well. I think she, like we said, she's like somewhere off in the distance, but she is every episode growing closer to this middle alliance that is kind of controlling the game. And she was kind of like the biggest force in pushing for Emily, which almost happened as we've learned in Christian's like postseason press. Like it seemed like it was either going to be him or Emily, and it was relatively close. Unlike what Survivor usually does, where they just like hype it up and it's not actually that close. But obviously that didn't happen, so I can't give her an A. Aubrey, I gave an A. I think she did perfectly fine. I mean, she's starting to branch out and try and like solidify connections with everyone rather than just like the same few people. But she still lost a decent ally. Whatever.
But where do you see her game going? Like, what's her ideal end game? Like, I
that's
just
where I'm
can't
like,
fathom that.
Yeah, I gave her an A for the episode, but for her future, it's like, I don't know. I don't see her and Jonathan working long term. I don't see her and Devon's working much anymore. her and Suri isn't like a tight thing, especially from Suri's side. She's probably not even thinking about Aubrey much. Um, I could see Aubrey being like that kind of nothing burger, like sixth place, fifth place boot.
But also, I could see her as like a 0 vote finalist.
Yeah. Stephanie, I gave a B plus. I cannot. Where is she? She's been off grid for weeks now, but I mean, at least she got someone else out from her opposing alliance, so that's good. Well, she didn't, but they got out.
Why don't you just meet me in the middle?
Ozzy, I gave an A minus. I think he was fine. He did a very solid job and is in a great spot, and I think he's very much adapting, unlike his previous seasons. But you know, and Devon's, I gave a C plus because he lost probably his number one ally, and was kind of fumbling the aftermath of Tribal. But like you said, he at least was able to get the heat off of him.
Yeah. So let's go to your draft because you just lost somebody. So
Yes.
do we talk about Christian? Do we grade his game? Usually we do. Yeah, we do the losing person, right?
Yeah. So let's start with Christian. I gave a C minus. I think this was really not a good showing from him at all. And even though there were some points where he was kind of twist screwed, really a little bit, but a lot of this was kind of his own doing, his own threat management, his own fault of talking to Suri, when he really should have gone to like Rick or Emily or whoever else. Suri A plus, once again controlling the season, no heat on her. Everyone's coming to her for information and just a superb job. Rizzo, I gave a B plus because we really didn't get much of Rizzo, but he was fine. He just seemed against voting Emily out, and I guess he got his way. Joe B, another person that's just kind of there, but we're seeing a lot of him being in conversations where it's like it's important if you're there, but we never see his side of things. We always see him just like as a number, and I don't think he's really working with the honor and integrity. I mean, there's not many of them left, but like it seems like that's kind of disbanded mostly because he's kind of working with Suri, I think, as a number. I don't know. He's around. And then Emily, Emily, I gave a C plus. Emily did good, and then she didn't, and then she just got worse. But she didn't get voted out. It was very close though, so maybe I'd give her a C. I don't know. It really started to like fall apart at the end. And Jonathan, A minus. Suri was the one that led him into thinking he should target Christian, but he did good work of like spreading the seed for it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try to do mine quickly.
Yeah.
Because I don't really have that many justifications for any of them.
Fair.
Sorry, I'm gonna give A plus. This is like my 6th or 7th. I'm just giving her A pluses every episode except for the premiere where she was. It was the one time she was in danger. I just think she's been playing a stellar game, and no one's clocking the fact that she is at the top of the food chain. Rizzo, less of a good week than the last few weeks. I would still give him, I don't know, like a B plus, A minus. We didn't see much of him. I mean, he's maybe going to get targeted next episode, as we saw in the next time on Survivor. So that's going to be interesting to see, roll through. Joe. He won immunity. That's what he's good at, I guess. Joe Biden, I don't know where to rank him. I'm going to give him an I for immunity. That's all I'm going to give him. Emily, and I can't believe we forgot to bring this up. I'm going to give Emily an F for flipping. No, I'm going to give Emily an F for fight because she fought with Suri about the rice.
I did forget about that. Yeah. Maybe that
she
was.
Fought
do you
with
think
Suri,
that was
and
the
that's
reason
not
why
allowed.
Suri almost was like was almost going to flip on her?
I mean, it's such a trivial thing, but I mean, we've seen banana etiquette spell the end of some people's games, but like,
And like we
I
saw
don't know.
Emily saying like I got that rice and then I had my personality back and then we saw Cerie's reaction where she was just so done with Emily.
She had to have several seats, and I think she's gonna have to have several seats on the jury bench if she continues down this path.
She's going to get 7 votes for the jury.
Not that several, not that
Okay,
several.
okay.
If we're speaking about 7-foot people, maybe we've got Jonathan over here. I
Mhm.
don't know how tall he is. He just takes up too much presence on the screen in like a confessional way and also a physical way. He was kind of scaring me with his one confessional about having people's heads on his belt, whatever notches on his belt. Like, don't
Yeah.
talk about Genevieve and Camilla and Dee that way, please. Or I don't know who he was talking about, but it had to be stopped. But once again, he is playing well, unfortunately.
Mhm.
For the last pick, second last pick, I would give him. Should I go with my unconventional ways? I'm gonna give him a golden star because that's what he deserves. A little golden
Cuz he
star
cuz he's like
sticker
a toddler who did good
because he's like a
on his shapes and
toddler.
colors assignment.
We need to encourage him for
Right.
doing the littlest bit
We
well.
need
So I'm gonna give him a
to
golden
divert
star.
him from the alt-right pipeline, make sure he grows
Oh,
up in a
honey,
good
I think
home.
he's very much in that pipeline.
He's
He
just
needs some
very
dawn.
impressionable. He'll grow out of this phase.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
All right. Well, let's just to wrap up. I did not get a. Actually, you know what? I will have a tweet of the week, but let's do yours first. Um. So
I don't even remember what my tweet was. Did I send it to you? Okay.
yes, you did.
Message from a friend regarding Survivor. The clue saying, "Hey, it's me, Billie Eilish," or "Hey, it's me, Jimmy Fallon." Remind me of this type of spam, and it's a picture of Lady Gaga or somebody pretending to be Lady Gaga saying, "Hey, it's Lady Gaga. I need $145 to continue working on my new song." Rah Um, yeah, this is kind of the cadence I would read these
Hmm.
advantages in, and I wouldn't believe that they actually wrote, read, approved of any of this. I think maybe their manager did, but that's a story for another time. And maybe when I meet Billie Eilish eventually, and I'll talk about that. And maybe she does have a song called Boomerang, but I don't buy it.
Yeah. So my tweet of the week is from at Malik Fortier. The RHAP event tonight
Oh,
in Toronto just proved that we need a Canada versus US season of Survivor, and we need to wake people up to this fact. This is
we did. Wait, that's my
this.
tweet.
Wait, that's Malik Fortier.
I thought you were going to talk about my tweet under that about Storage Wars.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Don't speak on my goat because somebody was trying to speak ill of Barry from Storage Wars.
We can't. We need to wake people up to Barry of Storage Wars.
Yes, he is. I don't even know if he's still with us because I think the quote tweet was somebody else from Storage Wars has passed away.
Well,
But
all of his skin is gone
sorry.
on his hand. I.
Yeah, he's all bony. Like, yeah, it's kind of scary. But no, back to the tweet at hand. I really think, like, we got Marianne, we got Caleb, we got Jen, we got Camilla, Omer, not Kane. But yeah, I think we've got a lot of fun people to make you, even if it's like one of those short seasons. I would love to see that.
Thank you all for watching our latest episode. Unfortunately, we weren't able to be in our very high budget studio that we pay for out of our own pocket.
Yeah, it got repossessed. Like we were
Right.
behind on the payments, and then it just like somebody took over, and now
We're
it's
we're now moving to a new building, but we're in between offices right now, so we had to do it online. But hopefully you'll stick around. This will still be very fun to cover, and we've got 1 month left of Survivor 50. But thank you all for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
bye.